11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think the winner won.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
Smile from Manny Pacquiao. Oh, counter service!
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? D-Style Boxing showing up this afternoon here for you. All right. This is, of course, Monday morning, February 28th, the last day. Unless it's a leap year, I don't think it is. But the last day of the month, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And let's go ahead and get started. Shout out to Freddie Montana, JC, Puerto Rican Rum. How's it going, man? How's it going? How's it going? What's up, brother? That's right. Hey, check this out, man. I want to talk about this. Let's have a very serious conversation about boxing. It's scoring. Of course, it just came off like a very controversial, fight. Tater Catterall, and there's a lot of, discussion about that. People feel it was a gift decision. And I kind of feel that way. I feel like, to put it lightly, Tater was very fortunate to come out with the win. That's for sure, right? But I want to talk about how we need to shout out to G Funky, by the way. Shout out to Stephen, just showed up, okay? And I want to talk about how I think they need to fix. They need to fix the boxing scoring. Yeah, brother, I got it right this time. You know what I mean? Shout out to Freddie Montana. You know me, man. Said hello to my little friend. I was saying Montoya. It is what it is. It's whatever. All right, but shout out to you. If I pronounce anybody's name wrong, just tell me. You know what I mean? It's all good. Shout out to Chicano Prophet, gracing us with his presence. You know what I mean? Puerto Rican Rum says boxing scoring. It should be rehauled. It should have happened a long time ago. Let me first say this. Shout out to Edward on here saying he is a new subscriber. So welcome. Hit the like button. Hit the bell button so you're notified when D-Style Boxing comes on live. All that good stuff. Check it out. This is, of course, the HCP Boxing Network, ladies and gentlemen. George H. in the building as well. Shout out to him. And shout out to everyone that's watching through Twitter as well, if you happen to be watching through there, right? On both platforms, a shout out. Check it out, right? Feel free to leave comments, retweet the whole nine, okay? And then if you want to be part of the mix here on YouTube, come to my YouTube channel, HCP Boxing Network, and watch it. You know what I mean? Check this out. SSC in the building. Shout out to SSC. Sporting that Muhammad Ali and Canelo posters. Greatness and greatness, in his shop or whatever you want to call it. Shout out to him. Check this out. All right. All part of Killian. Killian hooked us up with that. Shout out to him for sure. Check this out, man. Okay. Hit my like button, by the way. We need to fix. There's a lot of things we need to fix about boxing, but one of them is the scoring criteria. Now, before anybody says, "Oh, don't change it," we need to change it. We don't got a choice. Now, when I score boxing, I use the current criteria, right? Clean punching, effective aggressiveness, defense, ring generalship. I get what it is. And Chief Funk is saying it's not the problem. I disagree, and that's why I'm doing the video. I'm going to explain why I think it's a problem. All right? Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, the whole thing is stupid, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. Because it all comes down to the same thing anyway. It really does. So, here's what I want. I want to make sure you guys, just for now, the try not to argue with me. Just listen to what I'm saying first, and then we'll go from there. You know what I mean? Just give it a shot. I heard it works. You know what I mean? When you actually listen to what people say and then you formulate your opinion. It's a rumor. Sources told me it works. You know what I mean? But you can do what you want. It's whatever to me. But I'm just saying, hear me out. All right? That's all I'm saying. So, number one, keep clean punching in there. Keep it in there. I would add effective. I would put clean, effective punching. And that's it. No, but Batista, what about the other three? Like, we don't need the other three. We don't need it to score a fight. You just don't. What do you mean? Well, let me explain. All right? Hold on. I got this fucking office phone. Hold on, guys. Look, I get it. A lot of us are boxing nerds, and we know how to score a fight, and we feel some type of way about it. Okay, I apologize for the delay, guys. I have to pick that up really quick. But a lot of us have like this thought of hey man, I've been a boxing fan my whole life. These casuals don't know how to score fights. I know the 4 criteria, like the 4 Horsemen. I walk around like this. You know what I mean? This is me. Yo, D-Style, what's up, D-Style? Like, I get it. You're part of the 4 Horsemen. I get it. Like, you know how to score a fight. Cool. Like, we're hardcore fans. I know what ring generalship is. I know what defense is. I know what effective aggressiveness is. These casuals don't know what effective means. They think just coming forward. Like I get all that, man, and I hear you guys. I do. Like, I understand that casuals don't know how to score shit. I get it, right? I get that the judges should know, and we should know, and we should know the criteria and all this. I'm just telling you, 3 of the 4 are not needed. Contrary to what you believe, contrary to whatever it is, and I'm going to explain it right now. All right? What's going on to Andre Rodriguez? Whoa, Week Radio Network in the building. We got Stephen still on here. Check this out. All we need is clean, effective punching. That's all we need. We don't need anything else. Why? Well, let's go one at a time. Okay? Just one at a time. Let's go with defense. Style defense is really important in boxing. You know what I mean? It's hit and don't get hit. I agree. Okay, I didn't say I disagree. I'm just saying we don't need it in the scoring criteria. Why? Because it's a redundant scoring criteria. If you're hitting the other guy more than he's hitting you, obviously defense has something to do with that. Therefore, you don't need defense as a scoring criteria. Does that make sense? In football, your defense is good and you're not letting the other team score. You're keeping them from scoring. And in basketball, your defense is good. You're keeping them from scoring. Okay, defense is helping you win because they're scoring less. But we don't say, well, we're going to give you extra points because you're being defensive. Well, that's not the way it works. Oh, you're playing good defense, but they're scoring a lot on you. But the way you're playing defense looks good, so we're going to give it to you. What does that even mean? Defense is redundant in the scoring criteria. Prove me wrong. If you're hitting your opponent more than he's hitting you, defense obviously has something to do with that. So you don't have to have it in the scoring criteria. If you're slipping and sliding, you know what I mean. You're dipping. You're rolling with the shots. They're not landing effectively. You're blocking the shots. You're catching the shot, catching and shooting, whatever it is, and you're landing more on them than they are on you. Your defense is helping you land more clean, effective punches on them than you. If they don't hit you that much, your defense is winning you the fight. It shouldn't be a scoring criteria. It makes no sense. Why is it even there? I think boxing is the only sport where they have it as a scoring criteria. Well, duh, you have to be defensive so they don't hit you. If you're getting hit nonstop with clean, effective punching, obviously your defense isn't that good, right? So the guy that's hitting the other guy more is likely to win because the defense isn't good. Like it shouldn't be on there twice. Remy in the building. We got Matt Chat. How's it going? And we got Chicano Prophet on here, okay? I score defense in the pocket as it leads towards seeing a fight. Runners shouldn't get rewarded. Well, regardless of that, I don't want to like dive too deep in our preferences. I'm just talking about clean, effective punching, right? It's really the only criteria that really matters because all these other criterias, all right, defense is probably the worst one. It's just redundant. Like, well, what do we do? So if a guy's just bobbing and weaving, and we give him like that, like we oh look, he's bobbing and weaving. Let me check him out. Like what does that even mean? Obviously, the guy that's getting hit less has better defense than the guy that's getting hit like more. We don't need defense as a scoring criteria. We just don't. It's unnecessary. Like, oh, let's add defense in the scoring criteria for tennis. Like, for what? We know how you score in tennis. Obviously, having good defense, quote unquote, is going to help you prevent them from scoring on you. You know what I mean? Like it makes no sense. Defense is the way you stop them from scoring. So if you stop them from scoring clean, effective punches on you, right, you're showing good defense. It's redundant to have it as a scoring criteria. I'm just putting that out there, ladies and gentlemen. So that's defense. Defense speaks for itself. It scores itself. Okay, it's the anti-score. It stops your opponent from scoring on you. Like it makes no sense to have it as a scoring criteria. None. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Okay, and that's that. That's just my personal opinion. All right. All right. G Funky says defense should lead to offense. Make them miss, make them pay. It's the same in other sports. Yes, but in other sports, it's not part of the scoring criteria. You know what I'm saying? It's not how you score. Defense is the anti-score. Defense is how you stop them from scoring. So if we're judging clean, effective punching, if your defense is good, they're not landing clean, effective punches on you. Therefore, you're scoring more on them. Defense will still this idea that if you get rid of defense scoring criteria, guys are going to stop being defensive. They're going to stop blocking punches. Well, guys are still going to block punches because punches hurt. Guys are still going to bob and weave because it's going to help them get on the inside. Guys are still going to make a miss to make them pay because it's an effective way to catch guys, right? It's still effective to fight that way. You know? Clean, effective, and consequential punching is the primary scoring criteria, and effective aggression and ring generalship is only considered if you can't tell who carries the round with the primary. All right. Well, there you go. Check this out. All right. Check this out. With that said, all right. Check this out. All right. Check this out. And shout out to everybody, by the way. I see some people coming in. So check it out. Effective aggressiveness. All effective aggressiveness has done, okay, all it's ever done. First of all, it's the most critiqued of all that's by far. Okay, when a guy's being defensive and he's bobbing and weaving and getting hit, nobody ever says, "Oh, but his defense isn't that effective. He was still getting hit." Like nobody does that. Okay, but when the guy's the aggressor, right? Unless he's dominating, like he's just cutting off the ring, dominating the dude. Like very rarely does the aggressor get credit because of the word effective in it. Well, anything you do must be effective. But the fact that it's there, I think people overthink it, in my opinion. They just overthink it, right? I don't even think that it should be a scoring criteria at all. Like I think a fighter choosing to be aggressive or not, it's just part of a fight. Okay, some guys could only fight aggressive. Some are not capable of fighting aggressive. All right, but if we just keep it at clean, effective punching, that will rule the day. So what happens sometimes is this. Okay, a guy's the aggressor. He's missing a lot of punches, right? Because the other guy's being defensive. But he's landing, let's say they're landing like the same amount of punches. Very rarely do I see boxing fans punish the guy that's being defensive, but they punish the guy that's being aggressive because it's the one criteria that has the word effective in it. Okay? So like the bar to judge it is higher, like even though the one that's being aggressive is the one making the fight. Like you need the aggressor to make the fight. Without the aggressor, there's no fight. Like period. All right? You could have a fight if one guy is being aggressive. You could have a fight if both guys are being aggressive. You can't have a fight if both guys are staying away from each other. You need an aggressor to make the fight. All right? Now, I'll get to what I believe boxing should do instead of having this criteria. I think they should get rid of it, just scrap it altogether. Right? Just keep it to, because people do this anyway. Well, he landed the best punches. Well, okay, so let's keep it at that then. The next one they should get rid of, okay? The next one is definitely ring generalship. Ring generalship, all ring generalship is, okay, this scoring criteria, all it is for boxing fans to show how much they know about box. You know what I mean? I know what a ring general is. He controls the ring. You know what I mean? But I've never heard, I could ask 10 boxing fans, and they give me their own, idea what ring generalship is. Who's doing what they want to do? Like, if you're doing what you want to do and it's resulting in you landing more punches, then it's going to, then clean, effective punches ruin the day anyway. Okay? Like point blank, period. Like point blank. If it's, I've heard some of the craziest shit when it comes to ring generalship, right? To me, it's a guy that's controlling the ring. And yes, quote unquote, doing what they want to do in there, right? But that could be, that can raise the level of being subjective to a whole nother level. Because what boxing fans do is they see what they want to see, right? That's just the way it is. Well, I feel he was doing what he wanted to do, so I'm going to give it to him. But did it result, the ultimate thing is, who's landing the most punches on the other guy? That's what's important. That is what matters. Point blank, period. Oh, but these style, well, what if it's close? Well, I have a solution to that, in my opinion, right? But I think having this as a scoring criteria, just so boxing fans can have a dick measuring contest on who understands ring generalship more than the other guy, not like these casuals that don't know what it is. Like boxing is the only sport where we want to have this thing, what's the word I'm looking for? They want to have this level of understanding of this criterias that only us, we're like the oracles of understanding what ring generalship is, and we're the oracles of understanding what effective not aggression, effective aggression is. Fuck all that. All those things, and I know this is sacrilegious. I know a lot of boxing fans are going to lose their fucking mind. I know a lot of boxing fans are going to say I'm full of shit. But here is the motherfucking truth, guys. Here's the truth for you, okay? All that stuff, controlling the ring, doing what you want to do, are things fighters are going to do anyway, because they have to do those things, especially at the highest level, to what? To end up doing what? What are we ultimately trying to do? What are fighters trying to do in that ring? They're trying to land punches from the waist up on their opponent. Okay, that's ultimately the ultimate goal. Okay, so I don't understand why we have all these other criteria in order to score. It doesn't mean we can't understand what ring generalship is. It doesn't mean we can't understand what being effective in your aggression is. It doesn't mean that we can't understand what defense is. We should all understand what all these things are, like we do in any other sport. Okay? Team A beats Team B in football. Okay? Well, we look at the score, it was 28-13, right? So it's obvious why this team beat this team, right? But now, if you want to become an analyst, if you want to analyze why that happened, then you could look into the numbers. Well, they had 6 yards per carry in the run. The quarterback had over 70% of his passes were caught. Only 3 passes were dropped. It's the look at all the 3 and outs this team had. They punted this many times. Like, those are aspects that cause the end score, but that's not what we use to score it, though. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't say oh, we're going to score the effectiveness of how the quarterback, the offense show, field generalship in there, or did the defense show real defense? Did they pressure the quarterback? Did they sack the quarterback? We're going to score it that way. We don't do that. We don't even do this in other sports that are one-on-one, like mano-a-mano like that. We don't do it for tennis. We just don't. They have a specific way to score, and in boxing, the way you score is by landing punches. And that's all that should really matter at the end of the day. At the end, it all comes down to the punches that are being landed on your opponent. Point blank, period. Now, with that, I will add a caveat. This is all that should matter. It's just my opinion. Clean, effective punching. All right? Clean, effective punching. All right? And an engagement rule. Batista, there you go. Why not? It's a fucking fight. All right? It's a fight. Now, what is an engagement rule? Well, with an engagement rule, a fighter wouldn't be allowed to hold as much as Catterall was holding Tater. With an engagement rule, a fighter wouldn't be allowed to turn his back and run away from his opponent, okay, like I've seen some fighters do. All right? They would be told, hey, you need to fucking fight. All right? But like point blank period, you need to be facing your opponent. You should be in a fighting stance, and you should be engaging in a fight at all times. If you don't do that, you're risking getting points taken away, right? And a judge can look at that in rounds where it was quote unquote close, right? Then we use the engagement rule. Who was the one making the fight? That should be the difference. What will result in that? It will result in more action, more exciting fights that are more watchable, okay? Less clinching. And guess what? Your boxing skill will still matter. Fighting, knowing how to fight on the inside would matter. Defense would matter, right? We've somehow come up with this idea, and I see this a lot with a lot of boxing fans, like running away has become like, oh, that's being defensive. No, that's called avoiding the action. So, clean, effective punching with the caveat of an engagement rule. All right? How guys use that, how they decide to be ring generals, how they want to use their defense, how they want to be aggressive. That's something we can analyze after a fight. The reason he knocked him out is because he was cutting off the ring, he was attacking the body. When he attacked the body, the head comes down with it, whatever it is. He wasn't able to catch him. Why? Well, because, the guy had great footwork. He was working angles. He was popping him with the jab all night. He was landing the right hands. He never got in a rhythm because of that. I want skill and boxing skill to rule the day. I want what guys are doing in there, right? Not by avoiding the action and not by disrupting the action, but by using boxing skills. I want that to rule the day. If we had an engagement rule, you wouldn't see Vladimir Klitschko had that debacle where he was holding Povetkin. Like I'm not even exaggerating, like almost 30 times around. Okay, we wouldn't have dudes literally running in the middle of a fucking fight. like turning their back and running, okay, we would have far less boring fucking fights. And because they're being forced to engage more, right, you would see more stoppages. You would see more of that, more conclusive results, using the judges less, all right? That's what I want. In order to disagree with that, you would have to tell me that you don't want guys to be like forced to engage in the action, right? Like that. That's what you would tell me. Like you're okay with people just being bored and watching some of these fights. Boxing shouldn't be boring. Boxing should be the most exciting fucking sport in the world. Okay? And every sport forces engagement in some way, shape, or fashion. Okay? Quarterbacks, get called for intentional grounding, right? Like you're expected to throw the ball to an eligible receiver. You know what I mean? In basketball, they have rules that you have a time clock. You know what I mean? Like you have a certain amount of time to try to go to the basket. In every sport, like in tennis, this guy starts to serve. Okay, if you score, this guy starts to serve. We do it in every other sport. But somehow in boxing, suggesting that fighters should be expected to fight, in the course of the fight and not just disrupt the action. And by the way, I'm not hating on fighters that take advantage of these existing rules because they're doing what they're supposed to do. I'm just saying, okay, that under the boxing that I envision, boxing will be more exciting. Boxing will be far easier to score, and we would know what to expect of these fights. Okay, we would have a clear understanding of what we need in these fights. Okay? That doesn't mean guys can't fight on the outside. That doesn't mean, it just means that you're expected to engage at some point. It doesn't mean trade. Like you're gonna have some smart asses be like, oh, D-Star wants these guys to trade and do rock 'em, sock 'em. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Obviously, with the scoring criteria, you want to get hit less than your opponent. So obviously, you're going to use defense. Okay? You're going to have to slip. You're going to have to slide. You're going to have to block punches. You're going to have to, yes, use your feet, use angles. All right? We don't need what Conceição was doing in some rounds with Valdez, where he was literally like not doing anything. And even though I had that fight very close, I might have scored it wide for Conceição if he engaged more, like in the rounds that he did. Like, we just don't need, like, people don't want to see that. We need to listen to people, right? People don't want to see, like, I'm not mad at Catterall for what he did. Catterall is taking advantage of the existing rules. I don't got a problem with it, okay? But that's not fun to watch. It just reminded me of, like, Vladimir Klitschko fights. I wasn't mad at Klitschko for doing it, right? He's taking advantage of the existing rules, all right? But, yes, we should make guys, like, this wasn't uncommon. Like, if you go back to the 30s, 40s, it wasn't uncommon for guys to be in the smokers and then being told, hey, come on, fight. Like, well, what are you doing? Like, it just wasn't. But somehow along the way, I think elitists and I think a lot of boxing fans that want to be the oracle of, like, knowing how you score a fight, like, I understand, what ring generalship is, not like you. I put my zipper all the way up here. You know what I mean? Like I think somewhere along the way, we lost, like, what boxing should be. Boxing is a fucking fist fight. Okay? That's what it is. It was intended to be, we're in a fist fight, and the winner's the guy that when you submit the other guy and he's on his knees or you knock him out, he can't get up. The original rounds were not even timed. They were like a fight, and if a guy took a knee, that was the end of a round with a knockdown. And they were given like 30 seconds or something to get back up. Somewhere on the way that evolved and all that good stuff. But, like, that should be the ultimate goal. Inflicting damage should be the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal shouldn't be, let me survive for 12 rounds. The ultimate goal should be, you're going to hit him more than he hits you. And we're going to do this with a caveat of an engagement rule. Meaning you can't go 2 minutes without throwing a punch. Like that's just not sustainable. Like, well, this guy can't catch up to me. I'm just going to run around the round. I'm going to pity pat him and I'm going to run for the rest of the round. That's ridiculous. People don't want to see that. Clean, effective punching with a caveat of an engagement rule. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got a better sport, more exciting sport, easier to score, and that's that. We could still talk about who had ring generalship. We could still talk about who had better defense. We could still talk about, all those things, right? Was he effective in his aggressiveness? We could still talk about all those things are still going to be factors, but they shouldn't be scoring criteria. That's just my personal opinion, okay? That's just my personal opinion. Warwick says clinching is illegal. Referees don't like to make a difference in who wins and who loses Big Five, but they absolutely must start enforcing. It's an infraction, but I hear you. The question is, another thing. So with that aside, that's how I think we should score boxing. That's my opinion. But let's set that aside. What are some other things we could do? So somebody said earlier, we should have 5, not 3 judges, right? It's a lot harder to fuck it up with 5 than with 3, okay? It's my opinion. Like if one judge fucks it up with just 3, I mean, you're that much closer to like a draw or a split or but if you have 5, it's a lot harder to fuck it up, right? So I would like to add 5 judges. I like that idea, personally, okay? Right? That's number 1. Second, all right? Another second thing. We need, all right, it's just my opinion, all right? Somebody said 6. I need odd numbers. Odd numbers, not. If you have even numbers like 6, it makes it more possible to have like a split draw. Like we need to make draws far less likely. Okay? Like where you're forced to, like you can't give the judge an out. Like, well, Castano won, but I'm going to give it to Jermel by giving it a draw. So he'll no. We kind of force these judges' hand to score for somebody. Okay? It's my opinion. Don't give them a way of like softening the blow. Odd numbers. So if you want to go 7, go 7. I don't like 6. It has to be an odd number. Okay? I'm just going to put it, that's another thing they need to do. Point blank, period. Point blank. Right? Now, let me do a poll really quick. Let me do a poll for you guys. Actually, I'm not going to be able to do a poll. The laptop not letting me log into my account for some reason, but it is what it is. But here's the thing. I explained those that just came in. You could always go back and listen to the rest. But we did an engagement rule. We really only need to score the clean, effective punching. The rest will sort itself out. It's my opinion. And I honestly do feel it would be better for boxing if we did it. Second, another thing we need to do is have more judges. Give me 5 judges, all right? I think that would be an improvement. Okay? Another thing, if there's judges that feel it's close, right? If they feel it's close, like this is a swing round that could go either way, then mark it. We should have a way of making these judges put an asterisk or like a mark somehow. And if you ever scored a boxing fight, even we do it. Well, we'll put like a little star or something. We're kind of like, okay, this is a swing round. I think that judges should make public which rounds they felt were a swing round. Okay? Like, I think that's one part. A second thing, we should also, the media should have access to these judges after the fight. It is unfair that these fighters have to do all the road work, all the sparring, being a grueling fight, and then they need to answer questions, but like the judges don't need to answer any questions. I think judges should have to sit down and all these things need to be explained. Okay, I see that round 6 you had it close. You said that was a swing round. Why did you feel that was a swing round? Why did you give that round to this guy? This round you didn't have it a swing round, but he scored for this guy. Why? Right? I think they should be able to be questioned. If you do that, they're far less likely to give a round to somebody that they really know shouldn't have won that round. Okay? Judges should be interviewed after fights. Now, I've been saying this for years. I have a video from 6 years ago where I said this. Okay? We should be, even if you keep it at 3 and you don't change anything, you should still have them explain. Judges should have to explain why they scored something a certain way. Point blank, it's inexcusable that they don't get interviewed. It's inexcusable. Even the refs are sometimes questioned after a fight. So judges should, and I don't give a fuck what the reason is. I'm sure the commissions have the reasons, but I don't give a shit. Like something are just bigger than others. Like they need to explain why they scored a fight a certain way. Point blank, period. All right. So that should be something they need to explain. My opinion. Another thing, if a judge is caught, which has happened, believe it or not, if a judge is caught like not watching the fight, like they're looking down for like, we're talking like, bro, if you're looking down at your piece of paper for like 10 seconds while the action is going on, that's inexcusable to me. It's inexcusable. If they're caught doing that, their scorecard should immediately be voided. It shouldn't count. And they should have like some type of backup judge that is scoring the fight as well. Just in case one of them is suspended. And I'm talking about real-time suspension. Okay? If they're looking at the ring card girl, if they're like, if they look distracted, if they're texting on their phone or whatever the fuck it is, immediate removal and have the backup score the fight. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. It needs to be real time. If it's figured out afterwards, their scorecard should be voided, and the backup scorecard should be the automatic. That's my personal opinion, and that's something they should implement. It is inexcusable to me that many of these judges are caught texting, looking at the phone. Like, what the fuck? Did you fill out the shit before the fight? Or what the fuck's going on over here? Okay, that is inexcusable. I'll be watching this fight. I'll be watching the fight on TV and I'm scoring it on Twitter. Like, I'll tell people, like, I'm not even scoring this round. I didn't catch half of it. Like, it's inexcusable to score a round if you didn't watch the whole round. It's inexcusable, period. Also, it should be a lot easier to overturn decisions, okay, if there was an honest mistake. So, as an example, a judge actually admitted that he miscalculated the first round of the first Marquez Pacquiao fight. He said, I scored a 10-7 instead of 10-6. He admitted to this, and they didn't overturn it. Where this is an obvious, like easy thing to overturn. Easy things like that should be easy to overturn. Shout out to Major Key. I saw him earlier, right? Saw him earlier, you know what I mean? So that's what we need. We need more transparency with the judging, okay? They should be able to be interviewed after fights. Like, they should have to answer questions just like everybody else. You know what I mean? So the fighters need to answer all the questions in the world, but the judges have nothing. They don't need to answer to anything. Like, I think that's mind-boggling. That's crazy to me. And if somebody can't handle the pressure of being asked why they scored a certain way, then they shouldn't be a judge. My personal opinion. Okay? Yeah, Andre, they could use the ref as a backup scorer. Absolutely. Yes. And I also don't buy this whole the ref can't score the fight. I don't buy that. You know what I mean? I've never bought that. The ref has the best seat in the house. Like, point blank, period. You know what I mean? So that's another thing. So those are just my thoughts. Those are simple little things that could be done to improve the scoring, to improve the you know. I also feel like there's things we can do to fix these fights. Like, too many sloppy fights, too many things being allowed. Like, we shouldn't be allowing a lot of the things we're allowing. It's getting out of hand. We shouldn't just accept that there's guys that don't want to engage. It's unacceptable to me. I just got to be honest. Like, it's a fucking fight. You should be like expected to fight. No, but I think if he jabs 3 times in the round, that's a fight to me. Okay, well, that's your opinion, not to me. Okay? Simple as that. Shout out to Shadow Ghost in the building. But that's all I got, guys. Shout out to everybody watching me on Twitter, all right, and on YouTube. Shout out, okay. I know I had another point, and I'm forgetting. Like I know I have something else I'm forgetting. But here's the other thing. What's going on to Ashy Knuckles in the building? How's it going, brother? We need more uniform with the refs. Okay? And let me tell you what I mean by that. I think the refs have way too much leeway on how they want to call the fight. Like, I just think it's too, like, one ref will break up a clinch right away. One ref will let them keep fighting as long as you're holding one arm. Some refs will tell them to fight out of the clinch. These other refs, it's too much. Like, we need just some uniform understanding of what refs are expected to do, right? Like, for example, if you're going to take away a point because a guy hits low, then you should do it for both guys. Not for Catterall, but then you don't take away a point for Tater. You know what I mean? We need more uniform understanding, okay? If we're going to let guys punch, if only one arm is being held, then all refs should be expected to follow through with that. That should be an understanding that all fighters have. That way, fighters learn how to fight in the clinch that way. That way, fighters understand that if they're only holding one arm, you don't just look at the ref. Okay, you're expected to, because it causes confusion, right? Like there's cases where a fighter will look at the ref because they're being held, and then they're punched in the face, and then the ref scolding the guy that punched him in the face. Well, what if that fighter had a fight previously where they were letting him do that, right? We need more uniform understanding with the refs. Whatever it is, just make up your minds and let's follow through with it. I'm okay with fighters being allowed to still fight while one arm is being held. Okay? If both arms are being held, okay, I do believe at that point the ref should be telling them to let go. If they don't let go, then he should break it up. If they keep doing that, then at that point, yes, points should start being taken away. Okay? They should be given the opportunity to, like, stop doing it, obviously. Well, we don't need every fight to end by disqualification. But I do think to a certain degree, it shouldn't be allowed that much. It just shouldn't. You know? It's my opinion. A guy shouldn't hold somebody over 100 times like Klitschko did to Povetkin. That just shouldn't be a thing. You know what I mean? And I don't want to put a number on it. It just shouldn't be done excessively. And we should have a clear understanding of that. Now, what little intricate, details, that leeway that refs want to give, that's whatever. But we need to have a clear understanding, right? We just do. Shout out to No Paul. Shout out to Dickie. Shout out to Major Key. Shout out to Ashy Knuckles. Shout out to JC. All right. Look, what Rigo was doing in the Casimiro fight is turning his back and running around the ring at times was absolutely ridiculous. If you do it once, whatever. But if you're constantly doing that is ridiculous. That's not a fight. That's the opposite of a fight. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just my personal opinion. Well, Rigondeaux did against Donaire. Now that's boxing. Now that's a beautiful, showcase of boxing. Okay? But I'll use this word. I don't give a fuck who gets mad. We need to have as much less negative shit going on in the ring as possible. My personal opinion. Okay? Now, again, I will repeat this. I'm not mad at Catterall for all the holding he did. I'm not mad at Fury for all the holding and headlocks he does. I'm not mad at Andre Ward for doing it when he did it, or Hopkins, or those guys took advantage of the existing rules, and that's what fighters should do. What I'm saying is we should change the rules. Is what I'm saying. Is what I'm proposing. where a lot of those, crafty things, right, shouldn't be allowed as much. Okay? And I'll end it at that. All right. Anyways, guys, that's all I got. Those that came in late, go back. If you disagree, it's okay. Just let me know why you disagree. You know what I mean? And it's always good to have these discussions. I do believe that what I'm proposing would make the sport better. I really do believe that. Just my personal opinion. So this is D-Style Boxing. I'm out.